Welcome to the Killshot MMA podcast for UFC Saudi Arabia. The UFC makes their way to Saudi for the first time. Your main event is now Robert Whittaker taking on Ikram Aliskerov. Tons of changes, cancellations, opponent moves, all the good stuff. But we got 11 fights locked in. As of recording this on Tuesday, we have salaries for 10. We think we know about where the 11th is going to be. We'll talk about that when we get there. If you don't know, we talk DraftKings on the show. A little bit of betting advice mixed in. Early week breakdown. Share with your friends. Smash the like button. I'm Sniper. With me always is Monk at Monk Maddox. Go follow him on Twitter. Got big shows on his YouTube channel for UFC 303, 304 coming up. But Monk, we got 11 fights. We got a 12 p.m. Eastern start time. What are you going to do with your Saturday night after we take down these DraftKings tournaments at DFS Army?
I don't know, because I always get easy Saturdays. I generally get like 10 hours of work, but work is like I just sit around a lot of the time. So the 11 a.m. fight time, whatever you said, 12 a.m. is perfect for me. I'll get done with the fights. I'll get done with work at the exact same time. Maybe I'll go get some birria. Who knows? The world will be my oyster at that point.
Especially when you're chopping up the DK top prize with some of your DFS Army members, which if you are not part of DFS Army,
that's the case.
Those links are down below. We had somebody hit the nuts last week. I think it was in the $8 contest. I have to look it up. I don't think it was in the big 15. I really should have had that. I got that screenshot pulled up. That's bad on me. I'm going to fix that for future episodes. But we did. I shared it on Twitter. We had somebody smack the nuts last week. Who was there was every dog that won. We pretty much were like, this is one we should probably look at. There was who was the Judice? We were all over Judice, who scored 80 points in a loss.
Yeah. I think we were over Almeida.
Yep, we had Almeida.
High stand was the side in DFS.
Oh yeah, what am I talking about? High stand, kill shot. Yeah. I nailed the kill shot last week.
In retrospect, how easy the Weston Wilson. I can't believe I didn't see that, man.
In retrospect, that was the one I said it. I was like, listen,
Czechoslovakia sucks. Why didn't I see this?
Yep. I'm like, they're trying to build a star, but Czechoslovakia, that was the one that like 5% that I had. I was overweight there, and that one thankfully saved my night. So
Fugit was a dog barely, but that was maybe a questionable decision.
Not a great decision, but for DFS purposes, it played out just the way we thought. So more notes, more breakdowns, all the good stuff. Optimizer, come join DFS Army. You got codes down below to come make some money. But now that we have done that, let's talk about this card. Let's start with the main event. We'll go top down this week. Robert, the Reaper, Bobby Knuckles Whittaker taking on Ikram, nickname needed, Aliskerov. Aliskerov was supposed to fight last week. Whittaker needed opponent because Khamzat Chimaev, I'm just going to say, had food poisoning. I don't like something's. I don't dismiss that something is not seriously wrong with Khamzat. I don't think he's ducking or any of that stuff. I think he's got some medical issues, and he very well could be done.
That's the speculation.
Yeah, that is a speculation. Earlier in the week, people were saying he pulls out again and this, that, and it's more, the story we're getting, the food poisoning and whatever it is, I don't think we're getting the truth. I also don't think, as much as I don't like Chimaev, and I don't, especially that whole thing with the Holland and the Diaz and that weight, it totally
that was
the
wild.
That was the last straw turning. I already was not a fan of Boers, and so regardless, not a fan, can admit it. Something's up here. I don't think we're getting the whole truth. I just think it's more serious is what it seems to be. So anyway, Aliskerov steps in on short notice. Giant step up here. But let's talk about odds here. Odds, Robert Whittaker, just a slight favorite, -145. Taken Aliskerov is +120. Your odds on this one. We get Robert Whittaker at 8,400 for 5 rounds and Ikram Aliskerov at 7,800. Look, you know who Bobby Knuckles was lost to since 2014? It's 2 men. It's the current UFC middleweight champion, and it is the former UFC middleweight champion. It's Israel Adesanya and Dricus du Plessis. If I'll open up his topology right here. Let's take a look at it real quick. So his only losses, Adesanya twice since 2014, when he was young in the UFC. Been around a long time, doing it a long time. It's been very good for a long time. This is, for me, too big of a step up for Ikram Aliskerov. I'm not going to say he can't do it, but it's prohibiting me from picking him. And you want to say, Whitaker did not look good last time out or two fights ago when Dricus got on top of him, and Ikram is going to want to wrestle. Let's not forget how fucking hard it is to take Bobby Knuckles down. And if Ikram can't do it, it's a problem. On top of 5 rounds versus 3, there's just too many slight factors for me that I have to pick Whitaker. You can stack it up in cash, just fine with it. You can play both sides because Whitaker, 5 rounds, 8,400, sounds like scoring, even if he just strikes, the dude's full of volume. And if Ikram wins, it's because he's wrestle-fucked Whitaker and he scores big. This fight, to me, is in all of my lineups on an 11-fight card. I do lean more towards Robert Whitaker pretty significantly here. And if Whitaker was priced at like 9,000, then that is a product of the pricing. 8,400 over 5 rounds. If it burns me, it burns me because I don't. There's a few other fights that I can poke holes in that. Okay, there's 11 fights to start with. A few I don't like, and I got a 5-round main event at mid ranges. Sign me up on DraftKings. Monk, what is the statistical analysis for our main event?
Well, stats wise, I mean, it's a very small sample, only 2 UFC fights, and those 2 fights have accumulated just almost not even 4.5 minutes in the octagon. But they all say that Ikram scores extremely well. He does quite a bit in a very short amount of time, and has so far ended both of his fights early in the first round. Robert Whitaker, I mean, he went all 5 rounds, let's see, twice in his past 5. One was to Izzy. He took an L. If he somehow wins that fight, if the judges give him the win, I should say, he would have only scored 83.2 points in that decision win. On the other hand, you have Kelvin Gastelum in that 5-round fight where he was able to take Gastelum down, control him for a decent amount of time, and also land a shitload of strikes, significant and non-significant alike, ended up with 121. Now, Aliskerov probably better grappler than Kelvin Gastelum, so I'm not expecting 4 takedowns and a bunch of control time. And I'm probably not even expecting like 6 strikes a minute out of Whitaker, which is the second highest number that he's put up in his last 5. Paulo Costa, he put up 6.33 per minute. I do agree with you, Aliskerov. This is probably a big step up. Obviously, it is a big step up from the likes of Phil Hawes and Warley Alves to Robert Whitaker, who you're right, didn't look great against Dricus, but didn't have a good DFS win against Paulo, scoring just 68 in a win. But still, that was a pretty good win for him. Good to get off of.
That was 3 rounds, right?
Off that L, yeah, it was 3 rounds. So even in a 5-round fight, I'm not sure he scores great. 2.5 minutes strikes.
8,400. I don't need 8,400. 85 could get it done.
That's true. And and on an 11-fight card like this, we're probably in the same position. I like the upside of Aliskerov, but like you said, the takedown defense of Whitaker is 83%, which is a crazy good number. So yeah, I agree with you. I'm probably picking Whitaker, but I think the GPP upside is definitely there for Aliskerov. So love this fight. Personally, I think the DFS pick is Aliskerov. I'm a little less high on Whitaker, but I see the perspective on that.
We can civilly disagree.
Exactly.
Why don't you everybody just take a note to that and everything going on in the world, especially
yeah.
Being we are going to Saudi Arabia and we get to talk about Bilal coming up here in a few months.
That's true.
So everyone, you can civilly disagree. That being said, let's go talk about a couple of Russians. All right. That transition. I'm proud of that one. Sergey Pavlovich taking on Alexander Volkov. Pavlovich, we saw last fighting for the UFC interim heavyweight title, taking on Alexander Volkov, who is going on his 48th professional MMA fight. Pavlovich is a -210 favorite. Volkov is +175. This fight to end inside the distance is a big ol' -350. So we are expecting a finish. Your odds on this one, DraftKings salary on this one, excuse me. Pavlovich is 8,700 and Volkov is 7,500. Smells like a GPP fight. Monk, what do we got?
It does. It smells like one. The people are on. We've been through this enough times where the people are saying, "Oh, this is gonna go the overs." I like I've seen a lot of liking the overs. I've seen a lot of goes the distance looks from this one, which I don't disagree. I'm not laughing because I think it's stupid. I just think it's funny.
That's That's people placing that lock bet on things like Ngannou Lewis or Lewis
right.
and Almeida.
Exactly.
And they're like, I'm gonna get that back here.
Now every heavyweight fights like that. It's like, not exactly, man. You saw what Volkov did to Tuivasa. I mean, Romanov, Rosenstruik, Tybura did go all 3 rounds, I should say. The one thing I am interested in seeing here, Pavlovich, he definitely got tested, and we know what he looks like in a minute, or inside a minute, inside 2 minutes. But what happens when... Well, I guess Volkov's not really doing that either. I don't know. Volkov is so tall, so long. He is giving up 4 inches of reach, though, to Pavlovich. Obviously, you have to watch out for the early Pavlovich power. But Volkov is a very crafty veteran. Like you said, 30 or 48th fight is about to happen. Tai Tuivasa was also somebody that is a big hitter. Probably doesn't move as quick early in the fight as somebody like Pavlovich, but Volkov dealt with that relatively easily for the most part. Yeah, I think this is another great GPP fight. What are our prices here, actually? 87 for Pavlovich has to be one of his lowest, other than the Aspinall. I guess he was 7. That can't be right. 74 against Blades. Maybe it's not. 87 is a decent price for him, but he has been lower. And Volkov at 75, he definitely has some upside there, and everybody counts him out in almost all of his fights for the most part, especially since Aspinall. But this guy's done nothing but win since then, and win pretty convincingly. 3 finishes, one of them in the second round. So yeah, I love this fight for GPPs. I'm actually not sure who I'm picking yet. I have not done my notes yet, but this one is an absolute banger. Not one that you would stack. I know you mentioned stacking up the main event. Not one I would probably stack here. But yeah, good GPP fight from both sides.
All right, I'm gonna let you look this one time for not having notes done in terms of not making a pick. We got to give the podcast listeners what they want, but because it's a high variance fight, I'll let this one go. But I'm gonna hold your feet to the fire for the rest of them.
Oh no, you're good. I still got the stats. I just haven't written my actual notes yet for the website. Is what I meant.
Gotta give the picks. The people want the picks.
All right, fine. If people want the picks, I'm picking the dog. I'm picking Volkov.
All right, I goaded you right into a pick I don't like. Fuck. My mistake there, sir.
There you go. You asked
for
it. By
the way, people, DFS Army members, there's a couple, it happens once or twice a week. Picks or whatever. DFS strategy is what you listen to this for, but read the fucking notes. Read them.
Yeah.
If you're just looking at our summary page, which is helpful, you see what coach is picking which, who's viable for what format. You have to click into the tabs and read the notes, because there's 1 or 2 times where I'm going to say, I'm picking this person, but B is a better DraftKings play. And I think even if I wasn't on Brady Heastan last week, granted, I didn't think Armfield was going to drop him like that, so that could have been bad. But regardless, the style played out better for DraftKings. So it happens a few times this week. All right.
It was like me last week. I picked Miles Johns to win, but in my notes, I was like, probably don't play Miles Johns in DFS. He never scores well. So
I had Miles Johns
wrong. You're talking about.
That was when I took that one on the chin. Did not look good with Miles Johns there. But I avoided the Manus bomb in cash, so I swept cash games because I did not play Nate Maney's. So win-win. Or regardless, Pavlovich Volkov. Pretty much what you said. It is a big GPP fight. Because they're striking and no grappling, and second round may not get it done. It's not like an all-in fight, but it's a heavy exposure GPP fight. Don't play it in cash games. Variance fight, making me feet to the fire. I think Pavlovich is better. I think he's a little quicker, sharper, more explosive, actually. If Volkov can keep it at kicking range, Volkov's kicks will eat Pavlovich up. Pavlovich has to close the distance, but I think he does enough of it to get it in boxing range that I think that's going to present a problem for Volkov. But if honestly, early, if you see Volkov maintaining space well and Pavlovich can't close, it's a live bet scenario on Volkov. I think space is a big factor in this one, but I will take Pavlovich in terms of a straight up pick. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the big version of Nasrat Haqparast, who's also on this card. Kelvin Gastelum taking on Daniel Rodriguez. Gastelum's a minus 240 favorite. The comeback on D-Rod is plus 190. Your DraftKings salaries here. Gastelum is 8,900. D-Rod is 7,300. This is a perfect example of what I was just talking about. I should have waited one fucking fight, just one, because while I'm picking Gastelum, he is a dog shit DraftKings play this week. This fight is What is it to go to decision?
Oh, it's got to be
minus 225 to see the distance at 8,900, and Gastelum is not using his wrestling he never does in the UFC. Never really has. He's got it, but doesn't use it. Okay, so he's a striker in the UFC, and granted, he's had success, but does not score well. I don't think. Monk will get into that. I don't project him to score well at 8,900 in this fight against Daniel Rodriguez. Gastelum's been in some 5-rounders, which can skew some of those numbers, but regardless. This is also a fight. I don't trust either of these motherfuckers at all. Gastelum's lost 3 of his last 5. Lost to Brady, lost to Cannonier, lost to Whitaker. Granted, really good losses in terms of quality competition, ranked highly for a reason. Rodriguez, on the other hand, he lost to Ian Gary, Neil Magny. Also, every time they take a step up towards the real top, they seem to be getting hit with some losses here. So it's also interesting that Gastelum now back down at welterweight, where he, after years and years at middleweight, thank God he's at welterweight. It's where he should have been his whole career. I think Gastelum is a little bit better, is a little bit cleaner on the striking, but it's a super close fight for me. That I think the line is too wide. I think there's value on Rodriguez betting. I don't know if I'd pull the trigger, but that's where the value is in terms of odds. And salary-wise, I want no part of Gastelum. I'll take Rodriguez as what did I say the salary was? A $7,300 cash punt?
Yeah.
Absolutely. He's the cash punt of the card. And he's live to win the fight. Can't quite pick him to do it at 37 years old and, Gastelum's experience, but it's one of those DK versus pick. Gastelum the pick, D-Rod the DraftKings play. Monk, what do you got?
Yeah, I basically completely agree there. Gastelum's my pick. I don't trust D-Rod. Again, like you said, surprisingly, 37 years old, hasn't fought in over 400 days, 2 L's in a row. One was a first-round KO to Ian Gary, which isn't aging terribly, but still, I don't like to see that. Kelvin Gastelum's definitely got the better name value opponents. And it's interesting you said that he won't use his wrestling in the UFC, which is true. But if your name's not Ian Heinisch, in his last 5, the only person he's ever landed a takedown against is Robert fucking Whitaker, the guy we just said has an 83% takedown defense. I mean, he popped right back up basically immediately. I think Kelvin Gastelum had less than 2% control time in that entire 25 minutes. But still, I just found that kind of interesting. I just like Kevin Gastelum better. I think this is interesting. I agree with you that he's going back down to welterweight. I think the problem was laziness, for lack of a better word. Didn't want to make the cut each and every time, and you're absolutely right. That's where he definitely should have been. So yeah, I'm liking Gastelum here. I don't really I don't like D-Rod's game against Gastelum for the most part, and but you're absolutely right. The cash punt is the D-Rod side, 7,300. I don't like 8,900 for Gastelum. Very very expensive for what you're likely going to get. Historically 88 points per win, so nowhere near what you need, not even 10xing. So yeah, give me Gastelum for the win, D-Rod for GPPs.
All right, let's move on to the fight we do not have salaries for right now. Muhammad Naimov. This line's actually flipped. He's like minus 130 right now, and Felipe Lima's hovering around plus 100 currently. Don't have salary. Yep, don't have salaries for it. Lima coming in on short notice. He is the Octagon FC champion. Decent promotion, tons of experience. 12-1, not a bad prospect as all, as you can see by his record coming in. And you got Naimov, who beat Eric Silva, Nathaniel Wood, Jamie Malarkey, and it's 3-0 in the UFC. Interesting fight here, Monk. You have our late replacement fight first.
Well, Naimov off to a red hot start in the UFC. I mean, winning a plus. I do a historic profitability. Follow me on Twitter at Monkmatics. Basically, I just take all of the average closing lines for each fighter each week. And did you win or you put $100 on each one? What's their ROI basically? And Naimov is at the tippy top of the list this week. He was plus 335 against Malarkey, KO'd him in 8 minutes. Plus 270 against a aging and falling apart from injuries Nathaniel Wood, and then smashes Eric Silva as a minus 500 inside of 1 minute. So yeah, he's putting up very good scores for his salary, 6,500, 7,200, and then whatever he was against Silva, which was probably very expensive, he gets the quick win bonus and pays off the salary as well. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Naimov. 4 takedowns against Nathaniel Wood in 15 minutes. Didn't have to land any against Malarkey. I think he was getting beat up kind of until he landed that shot. He got outstruck in that one for sure, allowed 5 strikes a minute. So that is worrisome. Felipe Lima, I'm a stat guy. I got no stats on this guy. He's the one on here that has no road to UFC fights. He's got no Dana White Contender Series fights. So I'm looking at his, just doing a little tapology capping here. Everyone's favorite mode of capping.
Ooh.
Three times he's fought 0-0 guys, which is always good to see, but it was early in his career.
Yeah.
His last 3 opponents, though, 15-5, 21-7, and 8-7. So not really the best records there. But either way, coming up on short notice, I don't know how I could favor him against Naimov here. I think the line is flipped probably for a good reason. Naimov seems, he's done what Lima's trying to come in here and do, come in and shock everybody at a not a plus 335, but at a plus number. I just think I'm going to have to back Naimov until I see otherwise. I'm interested to see what the salary is going to be, because if it's somewhere in the low to mid 8,000s, I think that is money for Naimov. So yeah, I like him in all formats this week.
Yeah, I'm going to like Naimov too. Another big thing. I pretty much agree. I like Naimov's aggression, moves forward, can get taken down. Felipe Lima doesn't really do a ton of that. And Lima's a bantamweight. This fight's a featherweight, short notice for a reason. I'm on the Naimov side. I do want to see the salaries. I think Naimov is going to be cash game viable, and I'll play both sides in GPPs. It is over 2.5 rounds, minus 125. I would get a sprinkle of Lima on short notice, and my heavier exposure is going to be on the Naimov side. But this mid-range, I can sprinkle in both sides. Yeah, Naimov's the pick. Pretty much totally agree there. Let's move on to Johnny Walker and Volkan No Time Ozdemir. Similar to Gastelum Rodriguez, I don't like this fight because I can't trust which version of either one of these motherfuckers is going to show up like anytime.
Isn't that the truth?
I can pick 'em fight. Odds are even. Salary wise, Walker is 8,200. Ozdemir is 8,000. Minus 200 to end inside the distance. This is really simple. GPP fight. I want no part of anything. I'll play this heavy exposure fight mid range. Both guys, big striking. Walker's relatively aggressive. Walker also all of a sudden showed an ability or willingness to mix in grappling since he's trained with John Kavanagh, which is just weird that John Kavanagh and SBG Ireland has him shooting takedowns, but whatever. I don't really rate Kavanagh very highly as a coach anymore, but that's just my opinion for whatever that's worth. I'm going to still take Walker, but this is a GPP special fight. Honestly, it's a lean Walker. Like if I end up saying, okay, I want 75% exposure to this fight, it's going to be like 40% Walker, 35% Ozdemir. Like I'm just going to play a bunch, and I do lean towards the Walker side. This is one of those where I'm trying to bet on this one. I mean, you're a better man than me. I'm just going to GPP leverage this one up. How about for you, Monk?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is a GPP fight for sure. Can't trust either side for exactly the reasons you said. If I'm picking a side, I guess I'm going to pick Walker. I'm probably 55-45 on that, maybe even more narrow, to be completely honest. Ozdemir, if you look at his last 5, he's only beating guys he's supposed to beat, kind of, and he should have, by name value, he should have beaten Nikita Krylov, but that definitely didn't happen. He beats Bogdan Guskov, who we're still not quite sure where to rate him. Half the people say fraud, half the people say maybe not a fraud. And then Ozdemir beats Paul Craig, maybe his last or second to last fight before he went down to middleweight. But other than that, yeah, both guys losing to Magomed Ankalaev. Ozdemir lost to Prohashka, 5 fights ago. I don't know, man. I'm leaning Walker, but just barely. Like you said, I don't trust either one. I don't want either of these guys, I should say, in cash at all. Like Ozdemir scored 120 against Guskov. He scored 80 against Paul Craig. So what are you going to get? Same thing with Walker, He's scoring 107 against Craig and Kutalaba, then 75 against Anthony Smith. Like, what are we going to get? Who knows? I'm not taking the chances. This is just strictly a GPP fight. Slight edge to Walker, in my opinion, but wouldn't be shocked if we got another weird-ass knockout.
It's well, especially remember how Johnny Walker reacted when
Jamal Hill. Yeah, that's what I mean. Just
that was
throw his arms up.
That was
such
odd.
a odd reaction.
But I don't want to get punched in the head. But anyway.
Yeah.
Let's move on and let's talk about Shara Bullet Magomedov taking on Joelton Luderbach. Magomedov is minus 225. Luderbach is plus 185. Your salaries for this one, Magomedov is 8,800. Luderbach is 7,400. Mung, this is your fight first, but I have to put the disclaimer out to everyone first. Yes, Shara Bullet's last name is Magomedov. No, he does not wrestle. No.
Yeah, no.
I was going to bust Geek's balls about this because he sees an off and it's like, okay, relentless grappler. No. Shara is not going to grapple. And now watch him become a fucking Habib next fight, but he has not grappled really before. So anyway, what do you got, Mike?
He's got a long way to go. In fact, he doesn't grapple so much that he was taken down 3 times by Bruno Silva. Meanwhile, Jailton Luderbach has 13 wins by submission, 14 wins by knockout. So we don't have a lot, once again, stats guy. I mean, this guy's out here. Oh, yeah, that was a canceled fight. I was about to say he's beaten Charlie Ontiveros. No, that was a canceled fight. I mean, we're taking karate fights. We're taking boxing fights. We're taking modified rules, kickboxing, regular kickboxing.
Dude's been around a long ass time.
Dude does everything, and he's
got 48 pro MMA fights.
Yeah, for real. And all the dudes that I really recognize their names, all those fights have been canceled. He took L's to Clay Collard, Roush Manfio, so he fought in the PFL as well. Took an L to Dricus Duplessis at KSW. So yeah. We're kind of is this that Alex Oliveira? No, it can't be. The record's too good. Yeah, Shara Booten, yeah. Let's see what he did. He beat Bruno Silva, like I mentioned. 97 points in a 15-minute fight. I think that one was slated probably minus a lot to finish inside the distance and then went all 3. So there's always a chance for that. Salaries here 8,800, 7,400. Once again, I hope I don't sound like a broken record. This is strictly a GPP fight for me. I can't trust either guy because I don't know shit about Luderbach, and I don't trust Magomedov at all to just come out here and destroy Joelton as it were. So yeah, GPP fight here. I think I'll be pretty, not like super heavy on the fight as a whole, but average, maybe a slightly above average on both sides put together. So yeah, the pick is probably going to be Shara Magomedov. 8,800. I think that's okay for GPPs.
Yeah, I think Shara is a good GPP play this week. Sorry, I'm correcting a typo in my notes as we're talking here. Look, Magomedov's a hype prospect. Shara Bullet's a thing. He's a name. Joelton's not a bad prospect, but they found a guy who's going to stand and trade. He's taking kickboxing, karate combat. He's mostly a striker. Like he's probably not going to wrestle, and that's where Shara kind of struggled last time. He's got to improve there, and I think the UFC wants to build a star. I think it's a good stylistic matchup for Shara to kind of show out. I think it's a potential showing out party. Good volume, good striker. He is my preferred GPP play. It is a GPP fight because there's better, safer cash options, because if Magomedov doesn't get a finish, he's not going to score exceptionally well, even though he has decent volume. But GPP fight, and Luderbach isn't terrible. I'm not clicking the X button on him, but probably a secondary GPP option. Not a primary dog, who we'll get to in a little bit. The dog, I think get better as we go on throughout the card, but not a guy, he's in the middle range. He's not a primary dog, and he's not somebody I'm Xing out of the player pool. Speaking of dogs I am high on, man, the transitions this week, they are fantastic. Nasrat Haqparast taking on Jared Flash Gordon. Haqparast, minus 225 favorite. Jared Gordon, plus 185. Salaries on this one. Nasrat Haqparast is 9,000. Jared Gordon is 7,200. Look, if you're going to play Nasrat Haqparast in cash games, go ahead and send me the head-to-head. My name is Cactus Jack 2 on DraftKings. Send me some kind of guarantee, and let's go ahead and run that, because I want no part of Nasrat this week. And I will go one step further. I've been saying forever, Nasrat is overhyped. Like, oh, he's got 3 straight wins. Okay, cool. He beat a dirt old John Makdessi, I think fraudulent Landon Quinones, and Jamie Malarkey, a guy who he knocked out. Malarkey's got no chin anymore. Malarkey's chin is shot 3 waves to Sunday. They've got him great matchups. Jared Gordon, on the other hand, I think is consistently undervalued and underappreciated. We're all kind of, I do think it was the popular thing against Paddy Pimblett, which, by the way, he fucking won that fight. We won't go crazy with it. Everybody knows that Gordon beat Pimblett. End of story. It's got the clash of heads against Bobby Green, which I want to see more of that fight. Now that would have shook out. And then Marco Madsen. I know Madsen retired. I'm not going to tell you this is the best win ever. I think the value here is on Haqparast. Is on Gordon against Haqparast. Haqparast, to me, is one-dimensional. He's an okay striker, has some power in his hands. Gordon is tough, moves forward, can mix it up. If this fight stays too clean, Haqparast probably wins. Won't deny it. But I think Gordon can close the distance, mix things up, use the clinch, make it a dirty type of fight. And I think he's more than live in that fight. This is the first dog pick I'm going to go with. I like Gordon in all formats, especially at the $7,200 price tag. So I take it back. Rodriguez is my second favorite punt on the card because I like Gordon a little bit more. I like him in all formats for those reasons. Monk, are you agreeing? Are you telling people that I'm crazy? Either one is probably accurate here.
No, who do we say you just said it was at 73 that you liked?
Daniel D-Rod.
Yeah, I'm picking Gastelum to win that fight. I'm straight up picking Gordon to win this fight at 7,200.
We agree on a dog. I gotta go make a bet here.
So I think he's the better. I think he's the better cash play, to be honest. Well, yeah, fuck it. Yeah, for sure. Haqparast, look, until he cracked the totally crackable chin of Jamie Malarkey, scoring 117, he scores like absolute shit. Like, 100 against Landon Quinones, who we kind of think, I agree with you there, might be for either way, super young prospect, not much time in the UFC, but he's putting up like 78 in a win against like John McDessie. He's averaging only, even with the 116 and the 100 points against Quinones, his average is only 88 points per win still. So that tells you how many fights he's had below that 88 point mark. And it's quite a bit, most of his career actually. So yeah, for 9K, I'm not interested in Haqparast like at all. Basically 0%. Maybe not zero in case, the fluke happens, but Jared Gordon, I mean, if he didn't get finished inside of 1 minute against Bobby Green, Haqparast is likely.
Remember that was a no contest.
Well, no, I mean, I'm saying he didn't get, he went longer than Bobby Green didn't quick win him. So how is Haqparast going to do that? It's kind of what I mean. So I don't think Haqparast is going to score well at all. So give me Jared Gordon for DFS. I'm picking him straight up. And he should be looking at like basically 3 wins in a row right here if he gets that rightful Paddy win. So yeah, I like the dog, same as you.
That was unfortunate
bullshit.
all around.
Who's Paddy got coming up? Somebody's gonna.
What fight did Paddy end up taking? I feel like I should know that.
I should too.
For a long time, we all wanted him to
but it's
fight.
Like somebody decent, isn't it? It's like an actual.
Yeah,
fight.
We all wanted him to fight for Vola, but it wasn't for Vola. It's where's Paddy? I really should know. This is driving me crazy.
Oh, it's Bobby Green.
Bobby Green.
Yes.
There you go. We were just talking about.
God, I can't wait.
He is going to shoot a Bobby Green so fast.
Yeah, he is.
And he might pull the Hamzat fake glove touch roll for a fucking knee. Another reason why I hate Hamzat. That was a dick move too against Holland.
Super dick move.
So, anyway, Renat Gladiator Fakhretdinov taking on Nicholas, another guy I continually hate on, Dalby, Danish Dynamite. Although Dalby, 4-fight winning streak, good on him. Did not see the Gabriel Monfils win coming. Will admit it, got that one super wrong. Super wrong on that one. So it does happen. Whereas Renat, draw against Elizeo Zaleski last time out, although Zaleski clearly showed he's not all the way done.
No.
Is a really tough out in that division. Odds, Fakhretdinov minus 290, Dalby plus 235. DraftKings salary, Fakhretdinov 9,200. Dalby is 7,000. Monk, I will let you lead the dance for this one.
I'm not interested in Nicholas Dalby, much like whoever we just talked about. Sorry, short-term memory, not the best. 106 points in his last fight against Bonfim, but before that, 90 points against Salikov, 95 against Alves, 68 against Silva. So even before the Silva fight, we're looking at like Miles Johns type numbers. We're looking at Nasrat Hakpras, there we go, type numbers. And his average, so even with the 106 in his last fight, his average, the lowest on the card per win, and it's not even close, 81.17. That is extremely, extremely low. Not interested in much Nicholas Dalby. Also, last time I checked, Renat Fakhretdinov, we'll have to check his passport, but I'm pretty sure he's not Brazilian, and that is who Nicholas Dalby beats for the most part, is Brazilian.
It's a weird thing that's
it's such a crazy stat. It's like, it's a ton. It's a lot of Brazilian guys. It's kind of crazy, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, on the other side, you've got the polar opposite when it comes to DraftKings scoring, a guy in Renat Fakhretdinov, who even in a loss, who was completely dead after 8-9 minutes in that fight, still ended up with 67 points. Obviously didn't pay off his $9,100 salary in the loss, but still scored almost 4.5 points a minute, which is fantastic. Before that, he's putting up 130 against Lee in a fight that should have never been sanctioned, 130 against Brian Battle, a fight that went all 15 minutes. And the last stat I'll give you is, no matter how good you think Nicholas Dalby is, and he might be, like you, I'm a hater of him for a long time, and I've been wrong so many times because he keeps winning. 31% takedown defense against a guy who, last time I checked, only shoots takedowns. Give me Renat Fakhretdinov in all formats. And even if Dalby wins, I'm just going to get fucked on the scoring by Fakhretdinov, because I'm not going to play Dalby because he doesn't ever score well, pretty much ever. So yeah, give me Fakhretdinov.
Sonny, this is Dalby's second stint to the UFC. Lost to Zach Cummings, Peter Sabata. Draw against Aaron Till. Interesting. I was looking to see if I could find if he had ever lost to a Brazilian, which I can't see anywhere. So that's fun. He's also pushing 40.
He is. That's the other thing. Kind of crazy. I mean, he looks great for 39. He looks
insane. I am 38 and I look like fucking aged milk, and it's fucking gross. But anyway, look, Renat, you hit the nail on the head here. Renat's my favorite play on the card. He's going to shoot takedowns. Dalby can't stop him. He shoots. I think Dalby's overhyped. Give me Renat. He's a core play for me. Love this fight. I'll play a little bit of Dalby only because of how heavily exposed I'm going to be on the Renat side. Other than that, I'm not much interest here. It's probably just a hedge. Renat, core play for me, going to shoot. Can't say it enough. Have him in all formats. Now we'll move on to Muin Gafarov taking on Kung Ho Kang. Gafarov minus 125. Kang plus 105. Big night for Tajikistan in the UFC. They got
that's true.
They got Gafarov and Naimov on the same card. Line on this fight: Gafarov is 8,500. Kang is 7,700. I wanted to look up the fight goes to decision prop on this one is minus 155 to go the distance. I'm taking Kang here. It's not a great fight to target at all, but Gafarov is 0-3 in Dana White Promotions, by the way. He's 0-1 on the Contender Series, 0-2 in the UFC. I know he's got a couple wins in here, but this is his Contender Series fight where he lost to Chan and Helliger. Then he won some LFA fights, and then he lost to John Castaneda and Saeed Nurmagomedov. Now, the last one, great name value. I think Castaneda is a decent UFC prospect. Nothing great, though. And you got Kang, who also lost to Castaneda, lost to Hanayaya, and beat, it's a low-level fight to me. It's a low-level fight. We expect to go to decision. One, I'm always going to take the dog on DraftKings in those matchups. And I just think Kang is more well-rounded. He seems a little cleaner, a little sharper. I think Gafarov's got the potential to maybe make it dirty, probably excel better in a dirty type of fight. It's a toss-up fight that regardless, not much interest in for DraftKings. I'll take the guy who's cheaper, who I think is actually a little better anyway. Not a spot I would bet either, but give me Kang, and I'm hoping Monk's got a stronger take for you guys.
I agree. I mean, Gafarov has looked
damn it
not good. No, I mean, I'll bring a strong take, but it's going to be one that concurs with you. I can't back Muin Gafarov. I mean, in the 1 minute he lasted against Nurmagomedov, he put up like one strike.
Let's not be knocking people or things or out there who last 1 minute. Okay.
No, I mean, that's why I said one stroke. Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. I didn't say one stroke, one strike. John Castaneda, he went 15 minutes, scored better, 34 points, which is semi-respectable. Maybe not at that salary. 2.2 points per minute, so not great. Meanwhile, Kyung Ho Kang, like you said, low level for the most part opponents. I mean, Dana Bakary, Hani Yaya, Lu Pingyang, John Castaneda is not what I would call low level, but he's not. I'd say he's probably middling. Christian Quinones seems pretty good, but he subbed him in 2 minutes. So I agree what you said about picking automatically looking at the dog in situations like this. I completely agree. How can you put your money, and it's a significant salary? I guess it's not. It's middling, 8,500, but still a favorite salary on a guy like you said that's 0-3 in Dana White fight promotions. I mean, yeah, like I said, he's fighting Said Nurmagomedov, good fighter. John Castaneda, decent fighter. I don't know. I think this is definitely a step down, but Kyung Ho Kang is a veteran in the UFC. He's got, I mean, double-digit fights for sure. Yeah,
Kang and Castaneda feel really close to me.
Yeah, the
I know Kang lost to Castaneda,
but he got taken down 3 times. He got 111 strikes landed on him, there was no defense in that fight. That's probably why. But yeah, I don't know. Kang strikes me as more of not strikes me. I think you can classify him as more of a grappler focused. Is he going to be able to get Gafurov down? I don't know. Castaneda did it 3 times, so we'll have to see. Long story short, don't trust Gafurov, especially at a favorite salary.
Agreed. Let's move on to. All right, here we go. Oh, I should have practiced. I should have practiced this.
Whatever you say, I'm just going to go, yep, because I have no idea.
I totally should have practiced this. Magomed. I got that. Gaji Azulov.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Magomed Gaji Azulov. The Yasulov is just that Y in there.
There's that Y, and then it's the Sulov.
Gaji Yazulov. Who's now we're just going to call MG because that's his nickname. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah,
taking on Brenderson Ribeiro. By the way, MG, biggest favorite on the card, minus 470 from Bahrain. Taking on the Brazilian Ribeiro. Fight ends inside the distance for this one. It was a big old number here. Minus 800. We should see a finish. We should see violence. MG's 9,300. Ribeiro is 6,900. Monk, what do you got?
Let's see. Ribeiro fought. Oh God, he looked. Oh, I remember this fight. This was, I believe, back in February. Yeah, February 17th. Zhang Mingyang. That was a GPP lovers special right there. I mean, 2 guys you could never trust in cash. We were going to get a first round KO, and that's exactly what happened. Unfortunately for Ribeiro, he was on the receiving end. Meanwhile, MG, a perfect 8-0 again, under 10 fights. I feel like that's a thing I have to let you know, because always you cannot trust them. And if you look at his Tapology page, that will be backed up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like 7 fights, maybe 8. His total, his opponent's total number of fights was 13 in his last 8 fights. One of them, Vlad Uruksanov, has the infamous triangle with an exclamation point next to his name, record ineligible MMA. That was 3 fights ago. So yeah, to say he can't be trusted, probably an understatement, but he went from Eagle, which is, Habib protecting him. He does have a Brave and a Contender Series fight. This is true. And you love these, even though you might not be able to pick him out, to pick him with the utmost confidence, you can definitely play him in DFS with a lot of confidence. This is a great fight for GPPs. I'm backing MG, obviously, for a pick, but I'm playing both sides in DraftKings, but I'm definitely favoring the MG side of things, especially after how Ribeiro looked against Mingying Zhang. So yeah, give me, let me try it. Magomed Gadzhishulov for the win and for GPPs. Look, he would have put up 108 points. Very important, 108 points. Now, you might think this one finishes inside the distance because it's minus whatever, 800. He went all 15 minutes in his DWCS fight, still scored 108.86 points, a fantastic number, 6 takedowns, 40% control time. So you love to see that, especially when he's fighting a very low-level guy on the other side like Brenson Hibero. So yeah, backing MG, great GPP fight. Let's expect violence.
Yeah, I'm on board here. I close the ad. Look, pretty much everything Monk just said. You could play Godzi in all formats. He's fine.
Yep.
I'm gonna straight up read my notes here.
He's only 9,300.
I didn't write a ton of notes for this fight, but here we go. Ready? Big odds and price tag, but I'm all about it here. I do think Gadzhiyazilov is legit with a big ass. I said big ass twice. With a big ass ceiling in a good matchup. My only real concern is that he's super green and these unproven prospects, to your point, occasionally do shit their pants in their UFC debut. I'm totally on him, but he's not a core play just solely for that reason. So all about MG. And that's an insight to some of this stuff along with other rankings and metrics we got over in DFS Army. That being said, let's talk about the first fight of the night, last fight of the podcast. The road to UFC finale, the third time they've tried to have this fight. The first time the whole card was postponed, so not on those guys. Then there was a pullout. Here we go again. Long Zhao taking on Chang Ho Lee. Long Zhao is the small favorite at minus 120, and I think it's actually gone up a little bit. No, it's about right. Staying corrected. Plus 100 the comeback on Chang Ho Lee. Odds for this one, DraftKings salary. Long is 8,300. Lee is 7,900. I'm actually on the dog here. Probably I wish he was a little bit cheaper, quite honestly. I do like Chang Ho Lee in this fight. I think that he's more ready, willing to mix it up. Mid-range salaries don't have a high expectancy of a finish here. I think it's like minus 160 to go to decision. Even when Long Zhao wins, he fights close. And I think, in his road to UFC fights, he had a majority decision win and a split decision win against, Shohei Nose and Shuya Kamikubo. I remember at least watching the Shohei Nose fight. I don't think I should have gone back and rewatch this one, but I didn't. Or I don't remember it anyway. It's not sticking out. The point is, he fights close. Chang Ho Lee got good takedowns. When he gets on top, he's got solid ground and pound. I've seen him finish opponents that way. I think he's more likely to put up the big score. Even if you're on the Long Zhao side, I have a hard time seeing a path to a big number from him. The biggest concern I have in this fight is honestly the scoring. I don't know if Chang Ho Lee has some success in the striking, which he could. He might not score big. It's one of these, it's the opening fight. It's a high variance, low level fight. I think Lee's the better fighter. It's not an all-in type of fight. It's just a dog I'm looking at. I do think he's better. And I'll say this more definitively. If you gun to my head, who's more likely to make the optimal in a win? It's by far Chang Ho Lee is more likely to put up to land you the big money. So for those reasons, I'm on him. Not a fight I'm messing with in cash games. Unless I will say if for whatever reason Chang Ho Lee is the last man in, and I'm looking at Chang Ho Lee, I already have a list off in. If I have between like Lee, Kang, Volkov, Luderbach, that range, I'd probably plug it. And I love the rest of my lineup. I'd play Chang Ho Lee. What do you got?
Yeah, hope you're not a fan of us agreeing because it's going to happen on this first fight of the night again. I think you're right on.
So goddamn smart and sexy.
It must be that. If you put scoring on both these guys' road to UFC fights, it's not even close. I mean, Long's putting up numbers and decisions that I don't want any part of. Yes, in his Kamikubo fight, he landed 7.3 strikes per minute, but he ended up with only 86 points, scoring 3.7 points a minute. In his in the nose fight, it was still under 4 and only ended up with 89 in those 3 rounds. Meanwhile, Chang Ho Lee went basically 14 minutes with I gotta try to pronounce it now that I'm looking at it. Zhuopasi scored 105 points in that knockout, and even without the bonus, he still had 60.5 points with a minute and a half left. So he also allowed almost 60 points. So another good reason to play low-level, high-variance fights is most of the time guys are scoring pretty well, or they're giving up a ton of points when they lose. And then against Pratap Singh, he put up 120. That was a minute 4 knockout, minute 3 knockout. So yeah, he scored very well in that one also, like I said, 120. So obviously the DraftKings upside ceiling appears to be with Chang Ho Lee, and you get him for much cheaper than, you get him for cheaper than Long Zhao, 7,900 to 83. So yeah, give me Lee. And I like him more for DraftKings. I think his ceiling he's shown is much higher. And even when Long is, landing a couple of takedowns and landing 7 strikes a minute, his scores are not where they need to be.
All right, guys, that's what we got for UFC Saudi Arabia. We've covered all the fights. Now we got to do kill shots. If you don't know what a kill shot is, under-owned DK play, typically the underdog, could help you win a tournament. We don't want chalk. We want something that's going to help you get a big old fat takedown like Brady Heastand would have last week. Pat on the back, pat on the back. And while we're thinking real quick, do us a favor, hit the like button, share with your friends, join DFS Army. Kind of in that order, at least hit the like button for us. Appreciate all you guys who are watching and all you guys in the Discord. See you in there this week to talk some fights. International Fight Week is coming up here in just a couple weeks, right? Is it?
It's next week, isn't it?
Next week.
Yeah.
Next week. God, June is flying by. So make sure you're in for the UFC 303 contest. Monk, do you have a kill shot? Got one teed up and ready to launch?
I think there's 2 quote-unquote obvious ones, and I think I'm going to leave you one of the one you're probably going to pick anyways, but I guess I don't know. I'm taking at the limit, I try to keep it 7,700 or below, no main events. I'm going to go Kyung Ho Kang. I get him at 7,700. I get him against a guy who can't seem to win a fight in his last 3. So yeah, don't trust Gafrov. Not sure. Well, I understand why he's the favorite. Kang's not a world beater, but I'll take my chances. 7,700 against a guy that's got a big fat donut in the W column.
Sign me up for Jared Flash. Gordon, you knew I was going to do it, and Kang was my backup too.
Nice.
Those are the dogs I'm thinking are going to win. Give me Flash to get some redemption. Hopefully, call out Patty Pimblett.
Yeah.
Let's run. You know what? If Pimblett wins,
you got to run it back.
That's a perfect Apex main event.
Fucking run it back.
A perfect Apex main event, I think.
We deserve it, but most of all, Gordon deserves it.
Yeah, that was some bullshit. So, like it. That's what I got for the kill shot. Monk, anything? Where can the people find you?
You can find me on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Monk Maddox, MONK MMA TICS. You can find me on YouTube with the same name. We are doing Bankroll or Bust this week. I've got 2.5 great guests. One has not yet confirmed, but then also a big show next week, International Fight Week. Got at least one big guest on there trying for another one, and then was just confirmed a second, by far the biggest guest that I could have ever dreamed of having on. Not going to say who it is yet, but that's coming up hopefully for UFC 304. So yeah, big
guys, I'm coming back. Don't worry.
Big things coming. Yeah, Sniper's definitely going to be back for
definitely
sure.
Me. He's talking about me. I'm the biggest.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Can't deny it.
Biggest ego, maybe.
Hey, whatever works.
No, actually, you know what? In this space, not even
actually,
close.
yeah, that you're way off. No, not even.
Close. I can admit when I'm wrong because
you're more on the humble side of things compared to some of the shit I see.
This space is fucking wild. I figure,
so crazy.
If I could go crazy, I'd probably get more followers, but it would just feel ridiculous. And then if my actual employer saw it, they'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" It's embarrassing. So, anyway, guys. Under an hour, hit the like button. See you for UFC Saudi Arabia and UFC 303 at International Fight Week next week. The Geek will be with us, so buckle in for a nice long. International Fight Week deserves it. Sometimes I give you shit about the long episodes. No, we'll go balls deep. Hopefully, we get nice, big, fat prize pools for International Fight Week. We'll see you guys for that card. Good luck in those contests. We will see you next time.